Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 5 of BA231. It is the final week, if you can believe that. It has been a quick 5 weeks. Hopefully, you've all enjoyed the class and learned something that you'll be able to use in your careers or in your daily lives. You know, a lot of the stuff that I used that I learned while I was taking my accounting classes, I use in my daily life or my personal life. You know, such as things with budgets or figuring out how to do certain things with Excel when I'm trying to balance my checkbook or whatever it may be. So hopefully you've all learned something like that. This week I want to go over what is due like we normally have. So it's a little bit of a shorter week. Everything is due by Friday night at 11:59. So we've only got a couple of chapters to cover based off of that. So you're going to have chapters 14 and 15, a couple of practice things to work on, your discussion, your lecture response, and your final project. So I want to dig right into the discussion question here first. So the discussion question this week talks about make or buy decisions, and you need to go through and you need to talk about what are the important considerations in this process, and what are some of the things that people probably overlook or undervalue in this process, and then defend your answer. When you're doing your research, again, please do not forget to cite your sources. That is very important. I can't stress that enough. But if you remember last week, we talked about the make or buy process. So as you're going through, there's a lot of things that you need to consider. So let's talk a little bit about what we talked about last week. So you might need to look at the expertise or maybe what the company that you're going to be buying from already has set up. You know, an example of this that I think of is, let's just talk about McDonald's French fries, for example. So last I heard, you know, I could be wrong on this, or any fast food chain could fit into this example, is they probably don't make their French fries. They buy them from somebody. They buy them from a company. Would it be cheaper for McDonald's to go out and make their own French fries? In order to do that, they're going to have to find farmers to buy the potatoes from. They're going to have to set up a processing plant. They're going to have to hire people. They're going to have to make the French fries. They're going to have to get them packaged. They're going to have to get them shipped. That's a lot of work. It might be cheaper for them just to go out there and buy somebody and say, hey, I need X amount of French fries. Send them to me. And the reason why I think of that example is because my grandfather used to actually make French fries for them. And that was always one of their big customers because they had economies of scale. They had efficiencies that McDonald's didn't necessarily have at the time. So his company was able to make French fries and sell them to them. Again, they could go out and they could do that, but it's just not necessarily something that they want to do. They're not in that business. They're in the food business. So it's the same thing with companies. You know, you think about these automobile companies. Do they make all of their own tires? There might be some out there that make their own tires, but probably not. They're probably buying them from somebody because it's cheaper and they're better at it. So as you're going through, try to think of examples. You can talk about that one a little bit, but throw another example out there, one that you came up with on your own. Talk about things that people might overlook or undervalue with that process. And again, your initial post needs to be done by Wednesday at 11:59, and your 2 responses by Friday. That should say Friday at 11:59. Oh, excuse me, it does right here at 11:59 for the last week. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Next, you're going to have the lecture response. As always, please talk about what you learned from the lecture or what we talked about in the lecture, just to verify that you watched it. With that, by doing that, you're going to get a lot higher grade. And then next, you're going to have your final project here. So your final project is a big portion of your grade. It's 175 points. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. There's not any set homework with the Excel templates like we've had in the past before. It's just your final project. So let's talk a little bit about chapters 14 and 15. So chapters 14 and 15 you're going to start talking about your decentralized operations. So what do you think a decentralized operation is? So it's kind of self-explanatory if you just think about the name. A lot of companies have everything that's centralized, managed in one place. Decentralized is it's pushed out. So if you pull up the chapter intro here, it gets into a good example. So it talks about large retail stores like Walmart, Target, or Cabela's, or Macy's, or even then it gets down in here to Caterpillar. They have all broken up their companies into different segments. You might think, well, why would you do that? It's just a lot more headache. It's more people to manage. It's different things. Yes, all of those come with that. But one of the key things here is Departments allow companies to assign responsibility for financial performance. That is key. It makes it easier to track every dollar. A good example of this that I've seen in my personal life is my brother. My brother manages a trucking company, and it's a larger company, so they have their mechanic department that is set up as their own department. So the mechanic department, if a truck breaks down, they'll send it over to that department. That department actually charges the trucking division. You might think, well, it's the same company. Why does that matter? Well, because that's going to incentivize the trucking side to keep expenses down, because if they're taking it to the mechanic, they're going to be getting billed more. With the mechanics, they're trying to get things done as quickly as they can because they want to keep their expenses down. So, why hire 10 mechanics if 8 will get by? That's going to keep their expenses low. That's going to make them more profitable. It creates a little bit of competition within the company, but it also is going to help everybody make more money in the end, which that is the ultimate goal of owning your business. And as it says right here, companies can identify and reward excellent performance, which is great. That's what they all want. They all want excellent performance. But if the department is not functioning well, they can make the corrective actions that they need. So as you're going through, keep some of those in mind. It's going to talk about that. Like I said, Caterpillar was another good one. Managers, basically, they control each of their segment and they're set up individually. So yes, everything is Caterpillar, but you might have segment A, B, C, D, E. They're all competing. They're all trying to do good. So that's what this chapter is going to cover on. It's going to get into centralized operations and decentralized operations, how everything's reported, how it flows up, your service department allocations. I mean, it's really going to dig into a lot of that. Then next, we're going to get into chapter 15. So at chapter 15, we're going to be talking about capital investments. So this is when you are investing in your company. So you're going to talk about the nature. It's going to explain what it is, and then you're going to get into determining why you would want to make a capital investment in your company. So they give a really good example here of why are you paying tuition? Why is everybody here going to class? I'm sure everybody could think of other things that they would probably rather be doing than going to school. But in order to do those things, you need to go to school and get a degree so you can make money. It's a capital investment in yourself. It's the same thing with companies. Just like you're investing in yourself right now to get a degree from a reputable college, companies want to invest in themselves to make themselves better and be more reputable, to make more money. One of the things they talk about here is Vail Resorts. It's one of the largest ski resorts in the world. I mean, you see the three that they list here, Vail, Breckenridge, and Keystone. If any of you guys are skiers or snowboarders, you've heard of those. And even if you're not, you've probably still heard of one or two of those just because they are so popular. So this ski resort, it takes a lot to keep up on a ski resort. You're always putting in new lifts or fixing lifts, or you have your snow machines, or you have your people that work there, your lodges, restaurants, all of those different things. Everybody's trying to be bigger and better. So they're always putting these investments in. And why are they doing that? Because they want to make more money. Yeah, they want to get everybody to come to Vail. So, most of us in this class are from Utah. So a couple of the big ones here, you might have Brighton and Snowbird, just to think of a couple. Well, why are you going to go to Brighton over Snowbird? It's probably because one has better amenities. Maybe one has a little bit better runs. They take care of things a little bit better. They're putting that capital investment out there, which is going to attract customers. And capital investments generally are not cheap. As you're going to go through and you're going to read here, it's going to say it can cost thousands, millions, or even billions of dollars. You're thinking of, well, what's going to cost $1 billion? Well, just think of sports teams, for example. One of the examples I can think of is, I'm in Dallas working this week, and you have the Dallas Cowboys who just built a $1 billion stadium. Well, why did they do that? Is that going to make their football players better? Not necessarily, but it's a capital investment in the team, in the company as a whole, which is going to bring more people in, which is going to bring more money in. These capital investments are ways for them to make money. But as it says here, you're always looking for ways to evaluate these different proposals. So you're going to go out and you're going to say, hey, I own a football team. I think I'm going to build a new stadium today. That's not how it works. They're going to go out and they're going to do a lot of analysis. They're going to do market research to say, if I build this, are more people going to come? Can I have more restaurants to make more money? How's parking going to work? Can I make money off of that? There's a lot to go into these capital investments. So we talked a little bit about budgeting a couple of weeks ago. You're doing these capital investments. All of that stuff's going to flow into your budgets. It impacts the company as a whole. So there's a huge impact that you have to really look for. So that's what is due this week. If you guys have any questions about chapter 14 or 15, I mean, please feel free to let me know. Your final, again, it is due Friday at 11:59. Please don't wait until Friday at 10:59 to start. Take it early if you can, so you can make sure that you have plenty of time to take it and get a good grade. And again, I just want to thank everybody for the great class and wish you all good luck in your future classes and endeavors. And if you are still in class, I hope to see you again. Thanks.